Daniel 7:9a, Chazeh havet ad dikarsavan ramiv. And that brings us to Zakef Katon. So back to the beginning, we have a compound tense. This is the Chet Zayin Hey, and this is the Hey Vav Hey verbal root. The first is Pa'al, participle masculine singular. Second, Pa'al perfect, first person common singular. I was watching. Next up, we have an expression we've seen several times, something like until. This is karsei in its plural form. Rosenthal speaks of this on page 32, section 54, saying that this unusual, it looks like a feminine plural ending, is due to the aleph. So continuing on, we have resh mem aleph, casting, as in being cast into the fiery furnace. So here we have thrones were cast because it's a pa'il perfect third person masculine plural. So altogether, this is I was watching until thrones were cast. Normally translate were set. Now subject-verb agreement tells us that thrones word is a masculine plural. I'd just like to demonstrate from elsewhere in Aramaic that subject-verb agreement is important for tracking the gender of nouns. So here's an example in Proverbs 29:14. Of course, this is in Hebrew. If a king faithfully judges the poor, his throne will be established forever. And you see how I have the blue and the red color coding, where the red is the verb. It's a nifal, imperfect, third person, masculine singular. So in this case, it's pretty obvious that this is a passive idea. Will be established. Now let's look at the Targum of Proverbs 29:14. It's a word-for-word translation into late Jewish literary Aramaic, where you see the his throne word. It's interesting that we have a pa'al imperfect third feminine singular of a different verb. It's tav, kof, nun. We know it must be third feminine singular because there's that tav in the prefix rather than a yod in the imperfect prefix. Now, why isn't it a passive verb stem? It's because tav, kof, nun, in this case, is a stative. So rather than being established as a passive, it's being established as a state. So in this case, we have a feminine word for throne. So coming back to Daniel 7.